Hello and welcome to a 1v1 cast on Pale Tooth Gorge. Starting off we have MightyGrel at the bottom playing as the Chaos Sorcerer, and at the top we have ziemniakozerca playing as the Force Commander. And as far as I'm aware, I believe ziemniakozerca actually means potato farmer in Polish. I know the first part of the name means potato, and I'm pretty sure the second part means potato, or means farmer. Just a random thing that Adeptus actually told me from playing with him before, and I don't think MightyGrel stands for potato farmer in any kind of language, so we'll see how this matchup is going to go. But starting off with a early 2-1 or 2-0 cap here for ziemniakozerca, and he will be coming in aggressive onto these CSM here as well with his tactical marines and Force Commander, going to be forcing them off. They're going to be running towards this building by the looks of things, by even trying to enter the structure and sit defensively. Some heretics are also coming into the area as well, which might just be some free XP here for the Force Commander. Might try and kite him around here with the Doom Blast, and we can see that actually happening right away. Force Commander is going to be chasing around, battle cries activated, some more heretics coming from flank on these tactical marines. They're taking a lot of damage here, Doom Blast going off all the time, and that tactical marine squad will be forced off, but he will live overall. And the double scouts are actually coming here, so ziemniakozerca going to be loading up his full army onto this right hand side. The heretics here chasing a little bit far will be forced off, with the scouts will be retreated away with only a single mod loss. Might lose another model to scouts and retreat, but it seems unlikely that they will. Meanwhile, CSM have actually left the structure, going to go into a decap onto this VP, but ziemniakozerca will be able to see this, and Chaos Sorcerer has just been capping on this left hand side. Is actually going to decap this requisition point, which is nearly fully matured, which will actually hurt quite a bit in this early game. And there's actually going to be triple heretics here for MightyGrel. You can see a third heretic squad has already popped out, and the triple heretic build seems to be quite popular with Chaos Sorcerer in 1v1s, although I've not seen it in quite some time actually. In fact, I've not seen the Chaos Sorcerer that often in 1v1s of recent, but in the previous patch, triple heretics were definitely a build that you could go for as a Chaos Sorcerer against Space Marines. However, with the recent heretic changes, it'll be interesting to see how this will pan out in the end. These tactical marines getting a bit low. They're trying to actually rush for the building here. Both squads rushing for the building. It looks like the CSM will actually be the ones to win that rush. Heretics coming in, tactical marines getting forced off, and wow, they actually do lose a model there. That is definitely worth it for the heretics, and they're going to kite around this Force Commander now. Force Commander getting a bit low. Scouts coming in, both with shotguns and Sergeant. Doesn't actually have the elite training as of yet, but the CSM are probably going to force melee onto them. Grenades is actually going to get thrown down point blank. We'll actually be able to, wow, doing a lot of damage, taking them down to 2 models. The scouts actually meleeing on retreat. I'm actually pretty sure that they do more damage on retreat with their shotguns than their melee, because their melee damage is only 4 DPS, whereas their range damage is 15. So I'm not actually sure what their range damage is once you factor in the range damage reduction there. But some heretics coming in once again, this time with an aspiring champion. Grenade is on cooldown. Shotgun Blast is available though for these scouts. Shotgun Blast could go off before they retreat away, and then it will, and then they will probably retreat away, or they might actually go for this building instead. These heretics over here managing to bash this power node. A second set of shotguns here for ziemniakozerca, which is a nice idea given that there are 3 squads of heretics on the field. Shotgun heretics very good at bleeding models, and the shotgun blast to actually keep them at bay. And Force Commander himself is actually very effective at fighting heretics, bleeding heretics as well. Sometimes it's best not to use the battle cry, just so you can actually have an easier time picking off models with your bolt pistol and chainsword when the heretics are trying to tie up your other squads. Battle cry is better used if you're actually going to sit on the spot and actually fight the heretics in melee with your tactical marines or your Force Commander. But the heretics are going to be avoiding your Force Commander. They might be able to stay and fight your tactical marines, but they might also be trying to go for the scouts, given that they're going to be doing the largest amount of DPS now that they've got their shotguns and sergeants. Scouts with shotguns actually doing the same DPS as tactical marines in close range, so scouts are definitely the focus, and especially with how squishy they are, they're easier to force off than tactical marines, so they'll be the focus here for MightyGrel. Given that he's got 3 heretic squads, there's enough heretics to actually tie up 1 of each squad. And then the CSM and the Chaos Sorcerer are free to do damage to the Force Commander, or damage to anything else really. The triple gen so far for both players. Chaos Sorcerer is in an awkward position. In fact, scouts are actually ignoring him over here, going to go in for a decap onto that VP. The heretics in mid without their aspiring champion getting a little bit low. In fact, he's going to go in. Triple heretics coming in. There's only one squad with the aspiring champion. Grenade does get thrown, grenade does get dodged. The aspiring champion heretics actually kind of walk into that grenade, and that grenade will actually be able to take 2 models from each squad, which is quite nice there for ziemniakozerca. Chaos Sorcerer is kind of just sitting here idle at the generator farm. Looks like he wants to warp in some units to come in for a bash, except for he doesn't actually have any units such as that. The drop pod is going to get called in here for ziemniakozerca. It's probably going to be a tactical marine drop pod, going to give him a secondary tactical marine squad, and it is. Heretics going to get forced off in mid. CSM though, trying to walk in a bit of a weird path. The Heretics are actually not going to die here, they're actually going to live. The Tactical Marines decide to try and switch focus to these Chaos Space Marines, but these Chaos Space Marines are trying to run to a defensive position. In fact, they might even try and run into this building. Just needs to be careful that neither of these Tactical Marines decide to get a flamer to actually get rid of the garrison, and also to burn down the generator farm at the same time. Chaos Sorcerer though, on this right hand side, going to be 1v1ing some shotgun scouts. Doombolt's going to be going down, doing a nice chunk of damage, but the Chaos Sorcerer actually needs to go in and tie them up in melee, otherwise that Doombolt will be all for naught. Instead, Chaos Sorcerer going to get kites around. Double shotgun blasts have been used now on that right hand side, but the amount of scouts there with shotguns will be plenty to force them up. Wow, CSM actually losing that model inside the structure. That's very unfortunate there for MightyGrel. These double tactical marines not losing a single model here. They are going in for a decap on that fully matured requisition points, and Chaos very reliant on requisition. It will actually hurt them a bit. Aspiring champion heretics on this right hand side. Shotgun blasts were used earlier. It looks like that scout squad with Chaz the Sergeant has been fully upgraded as well to the elite training, given that it's full health and full energy after using its shotgun blast earlier. In fact, you can actually see the health bar right now, the amount of health regen it has got. It has definitely got the elite training. These tactical marines are going to get tied up. Are trying to reinforce from this drop pod. The problem is that the other 2 models are extremely low. Might even lose a model here on retreat. Doom Blast going off once again. The aspiring champion is going to be the one to take away a model himself. Meanwhile, on this right hand side, some scouts getting chased away by some default heretics. The Blood Crusher has just come out the base here of MightyGrel. The triple heretics going to go in for a decap and also for a bit of a power bash as well. But the Force Commander with a second set of tactical marines is on his way, and the Force Commander getting a Thunder Hammer is going to really hard counter these triple heretics in melee, and the Force Commander is sitting behind some green cover, doesn't want to get in any further apparently. But in mid, these tactical marines are taking a bit of damage here from this Blood Crusher. Do retreat away in time before losing any models. Meanwhile, on that right hand side, shotgun scouts are going to be doing a lot of damage to these heretics, and the Blood Crusher is going to whistle its or work its way down. Or work the drop pod down to nothing. Trying to think of the correct way to say that. But a missile launcher coming in on tactical marines, and Blood Crusher actually charges out of that. The drop pod's actually alive with 12 HP. And that'll be fairly easy to kill later on. Scouts can actually repair the drop pod if you really want to do that. Might be something for ziemniakozerca to consider, since it's going to be a focus of MightyGrel to actually kill it. But there are no scouts in the area at the moment. Scouts are actually both off to the side capping, or one's actually retreating because it did fight the Chaos Sorcerer. Maybe the scout squad could come into mid and actually do some capping, do some repairing before going off to cap again. The Force Commander is going to be responding here with the Power Fist. Blood Crusher is getting snared into place. Missile launch attacks are free to fire. 40 Emperor should get used here from ziemniakozerca if he does actually have the red, and he does have the red, so he should be using it. Wow, that Blood Crusher is going to be getting away with about 10 HP and is currently hidden by these worshipping heretics. Bloodletters coming in here as well. The Force Commander's Power Fist is actually decent against Bloodletters, because Bloodletters not having too much health per model, it's very easy to pick off a Bloodletter model because they don't actually get enough health regen from the worship to survive more than 2 punches. Or the Emperor should really get used on the Force Commander here, but make it so much easier to believe these Bloodletter models, but now that they're into their phase shift, they're going to be immune to taking any damage whatsoever. These aspiring champion heretics though getting very low. The Bloodletters also retreating away. Once you retreat away, the phase shift actually does end, so you're free to pick off models, even though you've only just activated the ability, for example. But that Power Fist Force Commander is definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with here for MightyGrel. while this is all going on, Chaos Sorcerer on the right hand side doing some decapping, and on the left hand side Heretics just tore down a power node, and CSM doing some capping as well, but there's some shotgun scouts on the path here for these Heretics, and they could definitely wipe the squad with a well placed grenade. Retreat. And the Force Commander going to go in for a very aggressive cap here onto MightyGrel's secondary power farm. A Dreadnought has also been, or nearly finished building in here as well for him. Most likely going to be upgraded to a Mark and Khorne Dreadnought. A lot of Chaos Sorcerers like to upgrade to the Mark and Khorne Dreadnought because it has a very large impact on the field, and at the same time, if it goes a bit too far through its Blood Rage ability, or you just let it walk to the enemy's base, you can always recall it in using the Warp Global. The Scouts losing 2 models here, going to enter the structure. The problem is their shotguns don't actually have the range to deal with the CSM from this range, so they're forced to just remain in the building for their own protection. And secondary Tactical Marine squad has, or the Tactical Marines has actually switched from the missile launcher now to the plasma gun. Plasma gun more effective against heavy infantry. Problem is that there's not actually that much heavy infantry here for MightyGrel. In fact, a lot of his army just consists of infantry, to be honest, and may have been better to stick with the missile launcher until the Blood Crusher was definitely forced off the field. The only heavy infantry that MightyGrel has actually got is a CSM squad, and the CSM squad is currently unupgraded as well. It does actually have the Aspirant Champion, but don't know if the plasma gun was worth it just yet. These Bloodless is taking a lot of damage outside of worship range, but it's going to be a full retreat here for ziemniakozerca. Meanwhile, on the right hand side, he is still doing some stuff here with his scouts. Problem is that Heretics have actually managed to get into melee range of the scouts, so the Heretics will be able to force these scouts away. And a Dreadnought now in the field is actually upgraded with the Mark of Khorne upgrade as well. Do like the little tail on this Dreadnought as well. But a Razorback is going to get called for ziemniakozerca. I actually don't like Razorbacks against the Chaos Sorcerer, mainly because Plague Marines with their slow are pretty strong against transports as it is, and the Chaos Sorcerer can actually warp in Plague Marines on top of the transport if he gets close enough. And Plague Marines, if they are near melee range of a transport, that transport is going to go down unless you actually have the appropriate counters in the area. The Scouts going to be coming in here, these Heretics, going to anticipate this grenade, going to retreat away. We will lose a model, but that's all they will lose. The Force Commander is actually going to arm himself with the Sacred Standard. Sacred Standard is really nice for a Tactical Marine blob. The 25% damage boost when you're alive is just really amazing. Razorback now on the field. Bloodless is forced to phase shift here. Will be falling back to some worshipping Heretics to actually regain their energy and health. And Scouts are infiltrated here, but both detectors here, the Aspirant Champion Heretics and the Shotgun Scouts with a Sergeant, will be able to detect each other, although the CSM, or the Tactical Marine Blob, sorry, will just come in and start attacking the Heretics as it is. But the Force Commander here taking a lot of damage as the focus from both the Bloodletters and the Blood Crusher. Heretics forced off. Bloodletters have no worship support whatsoever. The ziemniakozerca unable to actually bleed any models here, but should be able to do some decent damage to this Blood Crusher, although he does actually not have the missile launcher. Vengeance rounds are activated on the Standguard veterans. The Blood Rage Dreadnought is actually nearly killing this Razorback here, but isn't going to be chasing any further by the looks of things. Yeah, Sorcerer is still in the area here, could warp in the Dreadnought here. The Dreadnought does actually attack, or does actually do damage to units inside the buildings with its splash damage, and the Dreadnought will be able to easily pick off a few models here from the building at the very least. Decides to keep that warp in for a different day. The Bloodletter is going to be coming in once again. Shotgun Scouts trying to kite around Vengeance rounds. Standguard's not really doing any damage to the Blood Crusher since it is under worship support. The Vengeance rounds are really soft damage, like extremely soft damage. Not really used as a proper AV counter, I guess. It's more of a support AV or to force transports away. I mean, the Blood Crusher doesn't actually have that much health, but because it does have health regen under worship, it becomes a bit too much for the Standguards to actually face by themselves. I do think that ziemniakozerca should have kept that missile launcher on his Tactical Marines, and especially now that the Dreadnought's on the field, I bet he is regretting buying that plasma gun, especially given that there is not much heavy infantry on the field other than CSM and the Aspirant Champion on the Heretics. Dreadnought going to be ignoring some scouts here in mid. CSM now upgraded to Mark of Zinj, so I suppose it makes the plasma gun much more worth it now because he actually wants to bleed these models before they start bleeding his army. Mark of Tzeentch CSM also upgraded with the Aspiring Champion as well. They're going to be outputting a lot of damage here. Sternguard veterans, I think, lose the engagement against Mark of Tzeentch CSM if the Sternguards actually had Kraken rounds activated. Bloodletters coming in, the Blood Crusher also coming in, the Power Fist Force Commander going to go through those. Mark of Tzeentch CSM, Bloodletters going to be tying up these Sternguard veterans, and we'll be able to land some specials here. We'll be able to take away models. 2 models have been gone, or will be going down. Force Commander is also forced to retreat away. This Devastator with the last cannon is actually going to get some shots off because the Dreadnought has just ignored it here for the most part. But is actually focusing down the Blood Crusher instead. That Dreadnought will be able to tie up this last cannon Devastator squad, but the Devastator is able to actually gain a few more shots before getting it forced away. In fact, they will be able to live because the Bloodletters were in phase shift mode and were not able to actually attack. In fact, the Dreadnought only got 1 attack onto this Devastator squad, so they didn't even lose a single model. And a Librarian might be the ideal choice here for ziemniakozerca, the Librarian with the Veil of Time, allowing the Devastators to not have any setup or teardown time or whatsoever, allowing them to actually just get some shots in. And we have an ability called in here. It's not a demonic summoning, it is actually going to be Terminators for MightyGrel. He is tier 3, ziemniakozerca is tier 2, 223 VPs to 184 VPs looking in favour of MightyGrel. It is a triple cap at the moment. That Dreadnought has taken a lot of damage, isn't getting repaired because the Worship is going on instead. And Worship does not repair Dreadnoughts since Dreadnoughts are not demonic. But Bloodletter is going to be going in. The last cannon getting in plenty of shots into this Dreadnought. This Dreadnought is going to go down, especially 32 HP. The Force Commander is going in there to fist it. Blood Crusher is down. Dreadnought is down. Mark of Tzeentch CSM taking a lot of damage, losing everything except for 1 model. The Aspiring Champion is down. Blood Crushers, or the Bloodletters, sorry, are taking a lot of damage here as well. At the same time, the Chaos Sorcerer is going to go down here as well. He went in a bit aggressive. Chaos Terminators have been upgraded as well with the Lightning Claws, which is again can work with the Chaos Sorcerer because you can warp out your units, but I'm not too sure. But a Bloodletter has gone down here as well. Chaos Terminators coming in. The problem is the Chaos Sorcerer is now down, and if you want to warp these Terminators to safety, it's always going to go to this blue box area where the Chaos Sorcerer is currently dead on the ground. The Chaos Terminators, not the fastest of unit. You can see them even struggling to just walk up to scouts which are sitting still. But a Shotgun Blast has gone off. Shotgun Blast does not work against Terminators or super heavy infantry really. But these Terminators are going to be walking around as a 1-man army for now. We're taking a lot of damage. This Plasma Gun is definitely going to be paying for itself now on these Tactical Marines. ziemniakozerca having a lot of foresight in purchasing this Plasma Gun, realising that MightyGrel is going to be buying everything that the Plasma Gun counts as. These Mark of Tzeentch CSM still replace the Aspiring Champion. Might not replace the Aspiring Champion. He's actually quite low on resources. In fact, he did lose a large chunk of his army with the Blood Crusher, the Dreadnought, a Heretic Squad, and the Chaos Sorcerer. And will have to limit himself in what he buys. Terminators coming in once again. The Sacred Standard with a Plasma Gun on Tactical Marines just does an insane amount of damage. Before the Emperor should really start getting spammed here for ziemniakozerca. The 25% damage boost is amazing either on the last cannon when a vehicle comes on the field, or on the Plasma Gun when these Terminators are currently attacking, or on the Force Commander with his Power Fist. In fact, it is all incredibly strong. The Demonic Summoning has also been cooled down here as well. Scouts taking a lot of damage here. The Scouts can always enter this Razorback, sorry. Just need to make sure that the Razorback doesn't take too much damage. That could be a dead CSM squad. One more hit, if it isn't a battle cry, it isn't a battle cry attack, and he will be able to get that CSM squad. These Mark of Tzeentch CSM going to be going down. A last cannon has actually been purchased here for MightyGrel. I'm not sure why he went for a last cannon, given that it's only a Razorback on the field. I don't think that it was necessarily needed. I think an auto cannon would have been a much better choice, since it does damage to vehicles, does damage to infantry, and that Razorback down to just 7 HP, desperately in need of some repairs right now. Dreadnought is getting called in. Dreadnought is going to work out so well here. There is, other than the Mark of Tzeentch Havocs here, there is no real AV. Terminators are armed with Lightning Claws, which is an anti-infantry variant. They don't actually have their Power Fist, so they actually do less damage to vehicles, I believe. But Bloodletters under Worship trying to get the cap here onto the VP. Do have 10 health regen per model under Worship, but the problem is that they're still taking so much damage here. Go to phase shift before losing any models here, which is really nice. And you also get damage resistance from Mark of Tzeentch Worship anyway, because it's infiltrating you, and I believe that's about 20%. which is quite a lot of defensive stats here for these Bloodletters, and they will be going in onto these Tactical Marines with the Plasma Gun, and to gain the special here. That's actually going to be a dead squad here of Stern Guards. The Tactical Marines are trying to run away as well. Stern Guards now down, last cannon is set up, but there's no vehicles for them to actually attack right now. Heretics will be going down. MightyGrel just down to a single set of Heretics. 180 VPs to 58 ziemniakozerca behind on VPs, but ahead in army composition. That Razorback is kind of driving in aggressively here. The Mark of Tzeentch Havocs are getting rear armor hits. Shotgun Blast going to be knocking these Bloodletters away. The Razorback is going to go down. The Dreadnought is now armed with an assault cannon. Bloodletters tying up scouts. Assault Barrage going to go down. Scouts going in. Plasma Tactical Marines going to be capping. Bloodletters going to take a lot of damage here. There's no worships for them whatsoever. They're going to actually bleed monster assault cannon. They're going to phase shift out of there. Currently a 2-to-1 cap here for ziemniakozerca. Chaos Sorcerer on this right hand side going in for a cap. Chaos Terminator still in base, reinforcing and healing up, although they should actually be ready for combat now. They're both healed up to full models, and the third model has now just popped out. The assault cannon Dreadnought does need some repairs. The Terminators might be able to fight that Dreadnought, even though they've got the lightning claws. The Dreadnought has no melee resistance now that it's upgraded itself to the assault cannon. Scouts on this left hand side going to go in for a sneaky cap. The Sorcerer was forced off as well. It's going to be a triple cap here for ziemniakozerca. A second set of Havocs going to get called in, these last cannon Havocs. You can actually set them up, and if you warp them onto the Chaos Sorcerer, they'll remain set up in the exact same direction that they were originally set up in, so something to bear in mind if you actually want to go in for like a really committed attack against a vehicle. Just spend 100 red so your Havocs are set up to face this kind of area. You can always teleport them forward so they'll be still facing this kind of area, just to finish off the vehicle if it manages to get just outside of your arc of fire. Works really well with the Vestments of the Warp on the Chaos Sorcerer, although this Chaos Sorcerer in particular from MightyGrel has actually got the Chains of Torment. Just something to actually consider, but these scouts are going to be taking a lot of damage here. Heretics on retreat, Bloodletters on retreat. That's Bloodletters and Heretics unable to actually take down a single model here, which is quite surprising. And Dreadnought is now poised to actually come over to this right hand side to make sure that MightyGrel isn't able to push through. 94 VPs for him. Now the game was looking very much in his favour early with the VP lead, the units lead, but the VP is now slowly not in his favour, or slowly not going to end up in his favour. The unit composition definitely not in his favour right now. I wonder what these second Havocs upgrade to. Second Havocs have actually upgraded to an auto cannon squad. Chaos Sorcerer in mid, taking a bit of damage here from these Plasma Gun Tactical Marines. In fact, taking a lot of damage actually from these Plasma Gun Tactical Marines. Meanwhile, on the right hand side, Force Commander taking a lot of damage, or dealing lots of damage in fact himself as well. The auto cannon and Bloodletters are doing a lot of damage together, but that Power Fist Sacred Standard combination, he's just doing so much damage right now. Even the Mark of Tzeentch Havocs are also trying to get in the shot. Those Mark of Tzeentch Havocs are going to go down. The Tactical Marines were able to force off the Chaos Sorcerer. These auto cannon squad is going to go down. Bloodletters spawning from Demonic Summoning going to be fighting that Dreadnought, but power melee not effective against vehicles. And Lightning Claw Terminators also going to be joining this fight as well. Tactical Marines will be forced off here. Shotgun Scouts can't really do too much. In fact, they just need to keep on running, but the problem is the Terminators are charging in. The Dreadnought is coming in though. Dreadnought is down to 649 HP. The Force Commander is also in the area, but he himself is low at only 400 health. Drop Pod is going to come in. More Tactical Marines is it going to be? It is going to be more Tactical Marines. Force Commander is going to definitely die here. 22 HP, just taking so much damage. Needs to use for the Emperor. Needs to start spamming for the Emperor. And should have started spamming for the Emperor at the beginning of this game. For the Emperor and these Plasma Gun Tactical Marines would really help out in this engagement, or help out in multiple engagements throughout the game, since it only does cost 50 red. But the Terminator is going to be losing a model definitely here. They're not going to be able to warp out in time, or they can warp out early, but they're going to be really committed right now since the VPs are starting to get a bit too close. 76 VPs to 58. The Terminators destroying these Tactical Marines in melee combat. Going to actually wipe the squad. Scouts are the next target. That Sergeant is getting destroyed in melee. One model going to go down. The second set of Tactical Marines going to be the focus. Terminators going to be teleporting in aggressively here. Going to try and finish off that Scout squad. Going to get away with 17 HP. That's the problem with having no sidearms on your melee infantry. Units do get away with low health and you're unable to actually finish them off with a sidearm, but it's still a 2-to-1 cap here for ziemniakozerca. Is pushing in with autocannons, Heretics and Bloodletters, but Tactical Marines and Dreadnought still in the area. Those Chaos Terminators are too low. Cracking rounds is used. Cracking rounds not actually effective against super heavy infantry, only against regular heavy infantry. but those are some dead tactical marines potentially, or 2 models are definitely dead after that special there, and Assault Barrage is going to be taking down a Terminator model, doing some decent damage to the Bloodletters as well, but they actually phase shift out of there before losing a single model. Havoc set up as well here with an autocannon, 50 VPs for ziemniakozerca. He is on so much red right now, doesn't actually have enough to call in Terminators of his own. In fact, he's actually on maximum amount of red right now, nothing to actually cap in the area. It's actually going to be a triple cap here for MightyGrel. Things were not looking good for him, but he's actually managed to turn it back around. These Lightning Claw Terminators have definitely done a lot of work throughout that last engagement, killing the Force Commander, killing Tactical Marines, just killing everything. Scouts onto the left hand side, scouts in the center as well, Dreadnought to the right hand side. He cannot cap, but Tactical Marines can cap and will be making their way here. But the thing is, it's a triple cap. Things are getting so close right now. Scouts are starting to decap on both mid and the left hand side, but the VP's not in time here. The VP is actually going to bleed down. Look how close he was, look how close that mid decap was, and the decap on this side. If he managed to get the 2 decaps a little bit earlier, he may have been able to actually pull himself back into the game. But MightyGrel able to actually win the game. Things did look a bit rough for him towards the end of the game, but he was actually able to pull it through in the end. As ziemniakozerca, things were looking rough for him in the beginning of the game, and things just look up towards the end, but he's actually unable to take the game, and MightyGrel is going to be the winner here.